Hi Willies, I hope you're all doing okay. I'm missing you very much, but I hope that your home learning is going alright and you're finding lots of fun and interesting things to do around the house. So I'm just going to talk you through today's learning. It's just a bit of a recap on some of the grammar that we've been looking at. So it's all to do with sentence types and also clause types. It's up to you and the adult that you're with about how much of this you want to do or which parts you'd like to do. I'm going to leave that completely up to you. Just try your best with whatever. So the first task is all to do with sentence types, okay? And you're going to be trying to identify some of the different types of sentence. So if you remember, there are 4 types of sentence. We can have a statement. So a statement is a sentence that tells you something. So it doesn't have to be true, but it's just a sentence that gives you a bit of information. So perhaps something like the sky is blue would be a statement. We can also have a question. Now a question is simply a sentence that asks you something. And it's always going to end with, that's right, a question mark. We can also have a command. So a command is a sentence which tells you to do something, and it usually starts with a verb, with a doing word. So it might be something like come here or sit down. Think Miss Havisham. It's a very Miss Havisham kind of sentence. Okay, and we've got an exclamatory sentence. So if we exclaim something, we say it with a bit of attitude. So it's a sentence which expresses a strong feeling and it ends with an exclamation mark. So they often start with words like what or how. So it might be something like, what a brilliant idea, or how lovely of you to clean your bedroom for your parents. These are exclamatory sentences. So what you need to do on the worksheet is identify which sentence is which. So it might be something like, is it cold outside? Well, I know that that sentence ends with a question mark, so it's actually a question. So your job will be to write down which type of sentence it is next to each one. After that, you might want to have a go at task B. So task B is all to do with switching around the different types of sentence and seeing if you can make different ones out of the ones you've already got. So if we had something like, is it cold outside? Perhaps we could change it to, it is cold outside. So now I've changed a question into a statement. Okay, I've given you a sentence which is telling us something. See which ones you can do that with. Okay, it's quite an interesting, interesting little exercise. After that, there is also task C. Okay, if you want to have a go at this. So task C is all to do with clause types. Now, we know that a clause is a part of a sentence. Okay, it's a part of a sentence that makes up the whole sentence. And the 2 types of clause that we've been looking at over the course of this year have been subordinate clauses and relative clauses. Okay, so think about it. If you can remember, a relative clause gives us a bit of extra information about the subject of a sentence. So it gives us extra information about what the sentence is about. And it always starts with a relative pronoun. Okay, so there are actually some examples of relative pronouns on your worksheet for you to have a look at. So let's have a look at an example just to refresh our memories. The Romans, who came from Italy, liked to wear togas. Okay, so the Romans is our sentence subject. Who came from Italy is our relative clause. Okay, it gives us a little bit of extra information about the Romans. And if you look, I've embedded it using commas. The other kind of clause we can get is a subordinate clause. Okay, and these give us extra information about the main clause. And they're kind of weaker, aren't they? They don't make sense on their own. They always start with what's called a subordinating conjunction, and again there are some examples of this on the worksheet for you to have a look at. Let's have a quick recap of what a subordinate clause might look like. So Claudius was late for work. Claudius was late for work, that's my main clause. Because he'd put his toga on inside out. Okay, so because he put his toga on inside out is my subordinate clause. It gives me more information about my main clause. It starts with a subordinating conjunction, and it doesn't really make sense on its own. We can also have them at the front of the sentence. So rather than this, we can say, because he put his toga on inside out, Claudius was late for work. Okay, if I do that, I need to include a comma. So there's a paragraph of, it's an information text about the Romans. All you need to do is read through it, see if you can work out where the relative clauses are, where the subordinate clauses are, and perhaps underline them to identify them, maybe make a little key. It's up to you. After you've done that, why not think about, see if you can write a short paragraph of your own that contains 2 of each clause. You might want to do it on some of the learning you've been doing already about the Romans. See if you can tell me about Roman Winchester, perhaps. I'll leave it up to you. But that's just about all from me. So I hope you get on okay with it, and that you have a fantastic Easter. Okay? Have fun, guys.